What is going on, y'all? Site Perspectives, giofvcks. In this video, I am discussing the eviction moratorium that was lifted July 30th, 2021. Now, we've had an eviction moratorium for basically a year and a half because of the ongoing global pandemic with the coronavirus, COVID-19. And things have gotten worse, not better. And the eviction moratorium was enacted under President Trump and President Trump's administration in 2020. So I just want to throw that out there. And it was lifted this year, July 30th, 2021, under Biden and Harris administration. Okay? You know me, I'm going to give you facts. I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat and make it seem like one party did this over the other. I'm just going to let you know what the hell is going on. And there you go. And mind you, Congress has decided that they're going to go on a recess, which is essentially a break, vacation for Congress members. So they're going to allow the moratorium to be lifted. They're going on recess, taking a break. They won't be back until what? I believe early September. So they're taking a good 4 weeks off for their recess, their break, aka vacation. And in the meantime, you have millions of Americans in the USA who are facing eviction. Over 75,000 eviction notices were sent out in Metro Atlanta, in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, mind you, the type of work that I do a lot of work advocating for people who are facing financial burdens and hardships. So I do a lot of work saving people from getting evicted, looking for rental assistance to save people from getting evicted, to avoid people from being homeless. And there are programs that were funded through the various COVID-19 relief packages, and I will have information below on how you can find rental assistance in your state. So check the description box below for that. But it's wild because the COVID-19 relief packages provided funding to various programs that the federal government funded and that funnels down to your state government. So each state has access to rental assistance, rental relief assistance. Now, depending on how your state government is set up and ran, is how that money will be distributed and used. So I just want to clarify that because all states do not, they're not all ran the same way. So, you have to look into your state for that matter. Now, I'm also working with other organizations, and this is completely separate from my actual job role. But I'm on a committee working with other organizations and other individuals to prevent sources of income discrimination and also to promote rent control. Because again, the fair house market rate oftentimes does not reflect the cost of living and what people's wages are, right? Because case in point, my current apartment, when me and my roommate and myself first got the apartment, it was $1,238 a month. It's the same apartment, same location, same city. Nothing has been changed. It's literally the same apartment. And if we renew the lease this year, it will be $1,379. So you got to ask yourself, how do you go up $140 and it's the same place? It's not like you did anything different. We are making the same low, stagnant wages that we were making last year, but somehow you expect us to pay an additional $140 a month for apartment buildings that are 50 years old. It's out of control. For apartment buildings that have potholes and craters, and you're just basically, you might as well be driving on gravel. For apartment buildings that the basement where you're supposed to wash your clothes floods every time it rains. And the parking lot and the driveway into the apartment floods. People don't even have proper parking spaces. You know, there's so many issues. I've been trying to get the maintenance folks for the past 2 months to come and replace blinds and tighten up a doorknob for 2 months that they have yet to do. But I'm supposed to be paying you an additional $140 a month. And that's just my personal experience. Now just think about everybody else. And somebody made a good post on Twitter that hit it on the nail. I mean, this post hit it on the nail, honey. How? And I'm going to say it again. How do you expect people to pay 18 months worth of rent, right, when people have lost their jobs because of the pandemic? A lot of these jobs have yet to recover, have yet to call their employees back to work. You had people that were accustomed to making $24, $25, $30 an hour, and now you sitting up talking about a person, you know, they was on unemployment, and unemployment only lasts 20 weeks. Now, I've had people that I know personally. I don't know how they've been able to do it, but there are people that I know personally that have been on unemployment for over 20 weeks. So I don't know how they've managed to do that, but they have. But typically, you're only allowed 20 weeks, okay? So 20 weeks is a little under 6 months, okay? It's like 5.5 months of unemployment, essentially. So I don't know how people have managed to be on there longer than that, but they have. And you know what? Kudos to them. Shit. But I was on it for 3 months myself. I still have like 12 weeks worth of it left, but I was able to secure a position in my field making relatively the same amount of money that I was making last year. In fact, I make $2,000 less. And mind you, the only reason why I made $38,000 is because I worked a shit ton of overtime. I was working 60 plus hours a week. So that's how I was able to gain that, because in 2019 I had only earned like $26,000. So I literally ended up making $12,000 more by doing overtime and being a slave, essentially. And the sad part about it is when you work overtime, they take out more taxes. So you go up into a different tax bracket, you have to pay more, and they take out more. So it's really a scam when you sit down and think about it, because you're really not making the money that you're supposedly making with the overtime. But okay. But anyways, you know, you live and you learn. But people are facing evictions, and people are already have received evictions, and people are already homeless, houseless. People are already living check to check. You know, people are already impoverished, in poverty. And a lot of people are on the brink of poverty, because as far as I'm concerned, if you are living check to check, you are impoverished, because the minute you miss a check or you're unable to get that other check, you are in the red. Okay? Okay? You're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Okay? And that's how a lot of us are. And I think we need to be more honest and open about that, instead of trying to make it seem like everything is great when it's not. And a lot of this is social media, which I am definitely going to have to do a video discussing social media very soon, because in my opinion, social media is what causes people to want to live these fake and facetious lifestyles. And people like want to promote this, I get money, I get money. Remember that song by 50 Cent back in the day, like 2007? I get money, I get money, I get. Everybody wants to put on this facade that everyone's living well, when obviously that is not the case. And my thing is this: if everybody is living high on the hog, then how is everybody eligible for stimulus checks? That's all I'm going to say. That's why I said the lies that people want to perpetuate. Obviously, you're making $75,000 or less because you're eligible for the stimulus check. So clearly, you're not some multi-millionaire, billionaire, and you're not balling like you try to portray on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok. Come on. The lies, man, the lies. But anyways, people are suffering. Children are suffering. Families are suffering. Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, people. Okay? And a lot of people, like I said, prior to COVID-19, some of these people were making living wages, and their jobs laid them off. And here we are, a year and a half, 18 months later, and guess what? 17, 18 months later, and guess what? These jobs have yet to call these people back. So, to go back to what I was going to say, somebody made a tweet on Twitter and was like, you're expecting people to pay 17, 18 months of back rent when most people are barely making $13 an hour. How in the hell was you expecting anybody to pay any of that back when you don't even pay people living wages? And that is the truth. To me, it's just mind-boggling, right? They really thought that these people were going to somehow be able to pay their rent on $13 an hour. And like where I'm from, Genesee County, Flint, Michigan, it really is anywhere. People are fighting for $10, $11, $12, $13 an hour. People still hiring at $12 an hour. So, $10 an hour at 40 hours a week is roughly $400 a week. But after taxes, see, that's the key thing that people forget. I was making $10 an hour in 2013 in my human resource internship with Speedway. And it started off full time, and then midway it became like, I believe it was like 25 hours a week. And again, at 40 hours at $10, that's $400 before taxes. After taxes, and we were paid weekly. After taxes, that was more like $300, $320. And it's 2021, and you thinking that $300, $320 a week is going to sustain people? That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And this country should be ashamed of itself. And again, this is under Biden and Harris administration. Now, the Congress folks, they decided they're going on a recess. And what gets me is you got Nancy Pelosi, and she's not the only one. And I want y'all to understand, it doesn't matter at this point if the person is a Republican, a Democrat. More than likely, depending on who the person is and how many years they've been in their role, they're not doing anything for you. They're not advocating on your best behalf. They're advocating on the behalf of the rich and the wealthy and the corporations, the millionaires and the billionaires. I ain't thinking about you. This is why it was so easy for her to sit up and basically say, well, I don't really see why or how student loan forgiveness is beneficial to the economy. And that's easy for someone who's making $18,000 a month to say. You making $18,000 a month. You're not the one living check to check. You're not the one with the student loan debt. You're not the one facing eviction or already been evicted and only got 30 days to move out or less than that. You're not the one trying to figure out how are they gonna pay the utilities, or are they gonna get their medication, or are they gonna put gas in their car, or are they gonna have food on the table. You're not in those situations. What you make a month is what most people make a year. Think about that. Put it like this. People that are on SSI or SSDI, Social Security, disability income. You got people that don't even make $1,000 a month on that, man. And they're supposed to live off of that. Welcome to America. Welcome to America. And then when we look at wealth, I'm going to break it down. Classism affects us all. But here's the thing. It disproportionately impacts black and brown people of color, indigenous people. And we all know that. It also disproportionately impacts women and children. Okay? So when you think about these evictions, you got, again, y'all love to talk about being pro-life and American values and family and children and all this other bullshit. But with these evictions, you sitting up here kicking out women and children. You kicking out kids. You kicking out babies and infants, toddlers, preschoolers, kindergartners, elementary kids, middle school, high school students, kids. That's who you kicking out. You kicking out families. But you so pro-life. You so American values, family. Again, the shit is so hypocritical. And these people do not care, and they are not pro-life. Their actions speak otherwise. And this is how it is. And they're fine with it. Now, are there people who played around with their money and didn't use it in a, respectful manner? Yes. But overwhelmingly, most of these people live check to check, and they paid bills, they got food for their families, they took care of them families, they paid off some debt, and they tried to stay afloat. That's what a lot of people did. And it's amazing to me how we're so worried about everyday people on Main Street getting over, but you don't have anything to say about the billionaires and the millionaires who don't pay taxes. The billionaires and millionaires that find every loophole to avoid paying taxes. They got all these tax cuts for the rich and the wealthy. I mean, literally, you got billionaires that are making 100 times plus more than what you will make, yet you pay more in taxes than they do, and you make way less than they do. But y'all not worried about that. But you worried about somebody that's barely making $2,000 a month that you think shouldn't be able to get an extra $1,000 here and there. You don't want them to get a stimulus check, but you can give tax write-offs to billionaires and millionaires. You can give tax write-offs to corporations that refuse to pay people living wages. And a lot of these corporations and companies and jobs, they're the one that's keeping everybody impoverished because they refuse to pay living wages. I mean, shit, you look at the Walmarts and the McDonald's and the Myers and these nonprofits. These nonprofits are just as guilty as the for-profits because they all sit up here and keep everybody with these low, stagnant wages. Can't nobody live off of this. And then they blame us. They blame, oh, well, you need to budget. How in the hell is somebody supposed to budget on $13 an hour? And then for a lot of us, you know, you have the student loan debt you trying to pay off. You got the credit card debt you trying to pay off. You got medical debt from getting surgeries or having to go to the ER that you're trying to pay off. You trying to take care of yourself. And then you have people who have children. Now, if you have children, they under Biden and Harris administration, like I said, there has been some COVID-19 relief packages and bills that have been passed. So they do have the child tax credit. They do have it where basically you can get $300 per child a month. So tap into that. Information will be below. Again, for you people who have children, for that you are guardians and parents, that information will be below. But I just wanted to say that, like, we evicting folks in the middle of a global pandemic where we need people to social distance and be hygienically sound, but we gonna evict these people and have them homeless out in the street. And then keep in mind, it's August. So for places like Michigan, you know, the Midwest, northern states, we got maybe another 6 to 8 weeks, if that, of warm weather, and then it's basically going to be fall, winter. You want all these people homeless in the cold, in the snow, in the ice? And then my thing is, with these crazy hot temperatures that we are having because of climate change and the rain that we are getting, where it's just straight up flash floods, you want these people out in the element? And then they want to say, oh, it's a housing shortage. No, it's not a housing shortage. It's a greed situation. You know, y'all want to sit up here and the rents are sky high. Like I said, you paying damn near $1,400 a month for apartment buildings that's a half a century old. Make it make sense. And then, like I said, when you see how these places look and how they're ran and operated, it's ridiculous. It's abysmal. It is subpar. It is piss poor quality. But yet they charging you an arm and a leg for piss poor quality. And this is all the time. And it's like nobody seems to bat an eye at how we are treated in this country and in this world. Information on the evictions and, like I said, rental assistance and the child tax credit and other information will be in the description box below. Sending everyone love and peace and hope. I really do hope, manifest, pray that things get better. And I'm working in my own personal life to help others in this situation because we, despite what people want to believe, we are in this together, and all that selfishness, it ain't helping you. It ain't helping you by a long shot. And thinking that it ain't gonna impact you and I'm okay. Like I said, a lot of y'all found out and have found out through COVID that it can and will happen to you. So you better stop thinking that it's just, oh, that's just them. And if they didn't do A, B, and C, they wouldn't be in this situation. Because now I gotta ask, what did you do to end up in your situation? Again, a lot of us are literally a paycheck away or a car issue away for being in the same predicament. So come on now. Anyways, y'all be safe. I'm out.